Hello everyone, this is Shashiraj. Welcome to the second video instruction on modeling and finite element laboratory. And in this video I am going to cover few typical problems on bars. Let us recall the general procedure of analysis used in ANSYS mechanical APDL. There are 8 steps. First step is to select the element type. Second step is to define the material properties. Third step is to give the cross-section details in cross-section or real constants. Fourth step is to create a geometry. Fifth step is to create meshing. In meshing there are 3 stages: setting attributes, size controlling and meshing. Sixth step is boundary conditions and loads. Seventh step is to solve the problem. Eighth step is post-processing. And in this procedure, fourth and fifth step is geometry creation and meshing. This type of modeling is called implicit mesh generation. There is one more method. If I directly place nodes and create elements, then it is called explicit mesh generation. Any method can be used. Sometimes implicit mesh generation becomes convenient. Sometimes explicit mesh generation becomes convenient. In few problems given in the manual, the procedure is given in terms of implicit mesh generation. In few other cases, explicit mesh generation is also given. You can use any method. I am going to use implicit mesh generation for all the most of the problems. Consider problem number 16, case A. For the simple bar shown in the figure, determine the displacement, strain, stress caused due to self weight given. Length of the bar is 0.5 meter. Cross section area of the bar is 0.1 meter square. Density is 7848 kg per meter cube. Young's modulus is 2 into 10 power 11 Newton per meter square. As it is a bar problem, we have to use link 180 element. For link 180 element, sequence numbers are: for stress LS1, strain LEPL1, member force SMISE1. Let us solve this in ANSYS now. I'll set the preferences to structural, element type, link 180. First step is over. Material properties, material models, structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. Young's modulus is 2E5 or 2E11. Let us keep everything in meters here. Poisson's ratio is not required. Very important is density. We have to enter density because we have to account self weight of the bar. 7848 kg per meter cube. Close this. Sections, link, add 1. Area is 0.1 meter square. Enter that. Modeling, create key points in active CS. First point is 0, 0. Next point I'll create in negative y direction. Minus 0.5 is the total length of the bar. Line, you create a line between those two key points. Next step is meshing. In meshing, first step is setting the attributes. There is nothing to set, you can leave it as it is. Mesh control, size controls, lines, all lines. Here number of element divisions you give more than one now, because we have to account body load which is distributed. Let us try to account body load in 10 elements. It's divided into 10 elements. Mesh, lines, pick all. Now it is meshed. It has elements and nodes now. If you want, you can switch on the element numbers and node numbers. So this is your finite element model. You can see element numbers and node numbers. Next step is to apply the boundary conditions and loads. Define loads, apply structural displacement on nodes. Topmost node you select, You fix all degrees of freedom because it is totally fixed. And gravity load, you have to apply it as inertia, gravity, global. In y direction you have to enter 9.81 meter per second square. Don't enter negative here. When we apply positive value, it shows the arrow upward, but the effect will be downward always. Click OK. Solve the problem. Current load step. Solution is done. Go to general post processor, read results, last set, plot results, deformed shape, deformed plus undeformed. You can see the deformation. Maximum deformation is 0.48 into 10 power minus 7 meter, or you can say displacement vector sum to see the plot. 0.481 into 10 power minus 7 is 0.481 into 10 power minus 4 mm. Next, element table, define table, add by sequence number. ls, 1 is for stress, LEPL 1 is for strain, and member force SMAC 1. So all three can be listed. So this is a list of stresses, strain and member force. You can see that stress maximum is 36,570 Pascal, Newton per meter square, and this is the amount of load that is applied on element 1. Element 1 is here. Let us find the reaction list. Nodal solution will give me the displacement of each node, displacement vector sum or y displacement. You can see on each node what is the displacement, you can check here. And if I list the reaction solution, becomes this. At node 1 there is a reaction of 3849.4 Newton. This is the first problem, case A. Case B is solve the same problem by putting the total weight at the free end and compare. So the same database I can edit. I can remove the load, define loads. I'll delete the applied load, structural, inertia, gravity. I deleted the gravity load. I'll just apply structural force on nodes. The end node I'll pick, click OK. Fy direction, I have to apply the total weight of the bar. So total weight of the bar is calculated to be 3849.44, 3849.44, 3849.44, 3849.444 Newton. Click OK. Now solve this problem. Click OK. all the results and compare the results and make the comments. That completes this problem. Coming to problem number 17. This is a tapered rod. Left diameter is 40, right side diameter is 20 mm, length is 300 mm, and it is subjected to axial tensile load of 10 kN on either sides. For solving in FEM, you can take it as left end fixed and apply the load at the right end, or right end fixed and apply the load at the left end. Any method you can follow. But in order to solve this, we are using the same element which takes only constant cross section. So we have to assume this as a constant cross section bar. So in first method, we use one element, we take the average cross section and we use it and model it. In the second case, we model it as two element case, and how it is averaged, it is given here. You can notice that it is reduced to a stepped bar. And in the third case, we are dividing it into four different elements, and how each cross section is measured, that is given in detail here. You can refer to it. So all three methods you have to solve and capture the displacements and stresses, and you have to record them in a table and plot the graph. And this graph can be plotted only in Excel. You cannot plot it in ANSYS. You have to separately plot it in an Excel sheet. And you see that when we use more number of elements, the results get converged, or the value of results will be very near to the actual value. Here the pink line indicates the actual displacement obtained by strength of materials, and FEM result is represented using blue line, and this blue curve is almost close to the actual solution when element numbers are 4. So this process is called convergence. You are supposed to know what is convergence and how to achieve the convergence. That is the end of the problem. Please try it. And problem number 19. A copper bar of length 160 mm is placed on rigid support in vertical position. Clearance between the upper support and top surface of the member is 0.1 mm as shown. Determine stress and reaction for, there are four cases. First case is when the temperature is raised by 34.7 degrees Celsius. Second case is when the temperature is raised by 81 degrees Celsius. Third case is when the temperature is raised by 90 degrees Celsius and upper support yields by 0.12 mm. Fourth case is when the temperature is raised by 30 degrees Celsius and there is no clearance between upper support and top surface of the bar. Young's modulus and thermal expansion coefficient values are given. Area is 10 mm square. So here it's a temperature effect problem. You have to account thermal expansions by giving alpha value as a material property. In the material definition you have to enter it, and temperature will be applied as load. We have solved such problem in truss also. The same procedure has to be followed. But what are these four different cases? In the first case, temperature is raised by 34.7 degrees Celsius. So let us assume that top support is not there. We have to increase the temperature. We have to just load the temperature of 34.7 degrees Celsius and observe what is the displacement of the top node. So if the displacement of top node is 0.1 or less than 0.1, then upper support will not have any importance because the top surface of the bar will not touch the support. But if it is more than 0.1, then the top surface of the bar touches the upper support and reaction forces will be induced, and because of that stresses will be induced in the bar. So just observe that in the first case. In the second case, temperature is raised by 81 degrees Celsius. So temperature is more here. So you just check. In the first case you will come to know what is the expansion rate. And based on that, if the expansion in the first case is less than equal to 0.1 or less than 0.1, in the second case you can directly apply temperature and apply the boundary condition on the top node, apply the boundary condition on the top node as uy is equal to 0.1. I repeat, uy is equal to 0.1. Don't give 0.1 displacement for all dyf. If you give for all dyf, it get displaced in x, y, z all directions. We want the bar to get displaced only in the y direction. So uy is equal to 0.1 is a boundary condition that you need to give for the second case. And in the third case, when the temperature is raised by 90 degrees Celsius and the upper support yields by 0.12. So here delta T is 90 degree, you have to apply it as load. But the boundary condition for the top node is uy is equal to 0.1 plus 0.12. I repeat, for the top node, boundary condition should be uy is equal to 0.1 plus 0.12 because upper support itself is moving upward by 0.12 mm. In the fourth case, you can fix both top and bottom nodes and solve it. This problem also you can try. Question number 26. For the structure shown, there are two cases. Case A is without temperature rise, case B is with temperature rise of 80 degrees Celsius. Specify the type of element used. It is link 180. Create finite element model showing element numbers and node numbers. After meshing, whatever the mesh element numbers and node numbers, that diagram you have to write for that. Specify the displacement and force boundary conditions. Left node and right node, all degrees of freedom is constraint, that is the boundary condition. At the second node and third node, you are applying point loads, where magnitude you can show it. Obtain nodal reactions. You have to solve the problem and get the nodal reactions. Displacements of various nodes you have to write. Maximum displacement you have to find out and the location you have to find out. Stresses and force on each element you have to find out. So this problem we'll try to solve now quickly. Preferences, I'll set it to structural. Preprocessor, element type, same element, link 180. Material properties, material models, structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. See, there are three materials. First material is bronze, 83E3, 83 gigapascal is the Young's modulus, and for that alpha value, thermal expansion, secant coefficient, isotropic. Alpha value for bronze is 18.9 E minus 6. Click OK. This is the first material, which is bronze. I'll just add another material by copying this material. Create it as two material. Second material is created, and for this I'll edit and change this to aluminium, which is 70 gigapascal, 70 E3, and alpha for this is 23 into 10 power minus 6, which is 2.0 10 power minus 5, sorry, 2.3, and I'll copy this and add third material created, for which Young's modulus is 200 gigapascal, which is steel, and thermal expansion coefficient is 11.7, so 1.17 E minus 5. So the three material models are ready. First one is bronze, second one is aluminium, third one is steel. Sections, there are three sections I have to define. First section, area is 2400 mm square. Click OK. Second area is 1200 mm square, and third area is 600 mm square. So all three sections are defined. Now go to modeling, create key points. 0 0 0 is the first coordinate, second is 800, apply, third is plus 600, apply, and fourth is plus 400. Okay, there are 4 key points placed. Click on lines here, second line, third line. Think extra line is created. I have to delete that. Delete line. Yeah, third line I have to delete. Deleted third line. Say multiplots. Create line from this to this. Next step is meshing. Meshing, as I told you, there are 3 stages. First stage, meshing attributes. Picked lines. Pick the first line. See, now I have to set it to material 1, cross section 1. Second line you pick and set it to material number 2 and cross section number 2. Apply. The third one, you set it to material number 3, cross section number 3. Setting attribute is over. Size controls. Number of element divisions for all lines you can set it to 1. And mesh lines, pick all. It is meshed now. Now you can check the cross section whether it is applied correctly or not by coming here, style, size and shape, display of element on. See, it is applied, but why it is showing like this? Let us check which property is applied. We'll just go to numbering and say section numbers. Section number 3 is applied here, 2 is applied here, 1 is applied here. I have to change it, so I'll unmesh this first. Clear lines, pick all, plot lines. I'll set the attributes again. Picked lines, first line, material number 1, cross section 1, apply. Second one, material number 2, cross section 2, apply. Third one, material number 3, cross section number 3. Okay, now mesh again, plot elements. Yeah, now it has come correctly. Cross section is assigned properly. Let us check the material properties also. So you can change this to material numbers. Yeah, material is also set properly. So I'll just close this numbering. Say no numbering, and I don't want size and shape also. I'll switch off this also. Yeah, next I have to apply the boundary conditions and loads. Now I know that left hand and right hand is totally fixed, so go to boundary conditions, apply displacement on nodes, this node and this node, click OK, all DOF constraint. Next I have to apply the point loads, for which I'll just display key points. Force on nodes, at this node I have to apply the force of Fx, which is in the negative direction, minus 60 E3, 60 kilonewton, and at this point I should apply a load of minus 75 kilonewton. 75 kilonewton I have to apply. That's all. For the first case I don't have to apply any temperature loading. I have to solve it as it is. So solve current load step. Solution is done. General post processor. You can get all the results. Everything you can get it here. For example, if I want stress, I come here and define ls comma 1 for stress. Before that you better read the results. Last step. Now you can just go to ls1 and see the stresses. In the first element, that is bronze portion, stress is minus 25.26 MPa, and in the second portion, that is aluminium, stress is less, minus 0.51 MPa, and last portion, steel portion, stress is maximum 123.96 MPa. And minus sign indicates the compressive stress and plus sign indicates tensile stress. Now to account temperature change of 80 degree, for the same database you can go to structural temperature, uniform temperature. Here you apply 80 degree, click OK and solve it. Solution is done. Now you can check all the results again. For example, I am going to check this one. Before that you can read the results, last set, and element table, update, list. You can see that the stress values are changed now. All are compressive because of temperature change the materials are expanding. That is why they are under compression stress. So this is the procedure for solving this problem. You go through all the results, whatever is required, everything you extract. Next problem is this. There are 3 vertical bars which are supporting a platform which has a load of 25 kilonewton. This problem has to be solved by taking or by coupling the top 3 nodes, because when the platform deforms vertically, all these 3 members undergo same amount of deformation. So we have to couple the degree of freedom of top 3 nodes and solve it. I'll quickly solve this problem. I'll use the same database. I'll clear the mesh lines, we call modeling. I'll delete the geometry, delete lines and below, everything is deleted. Element is already chosen. Material model I'll just edit. I'll delete this model, not required. I'll delete this model also, and only this model I'll keep. And for this, Young's modulus is 205 gigapascal. There are 2 materials. 205 E3 is one of the material, which is steel. This I can delete, it's not required. And the second model, it is copper with 100 gigapascal, 100 E3. Click OK. Now sections, link, I'll edit the first section itself. Cross section is same for all the members. 20 mm is the diameter. So we'll calculate the area as 3.142 into pi d square by 4. So pi into 20 square by 4, pi d square by 4. See, 3.142 into 20 double star 2 by 4. This becomes pi d square by 4. D is 20 mm diameter. So it automatically calculates what is the area. So first cross section I have to use. So modeling, create key points in active CS. First I'll keep it as 0 0. Next one, I'll model it in y direction. The length is 3.6 meter, that is 3600 mm. Then a gap of, let us say, 1000 I have to create, and y coordinate is 3.6 minus 2.8, which is 0.8 or 800 mm. And next I have to give another point at the same gap, but the distance should be 3600 now, in y direction. Next, 2000 is a x coordinate, and one point will be at 0y, and second point will be at 3600 mm. So I have to create only the vertical members because they are the axially loaded members now. So 1, 2 and 3. Next step is mesh attributes, pick lines. So this line and this line you can pick together, and you can assign the material number 1, that is steel. Cross section set 1. Though there are 3 sets, other 2 sets we are not going to use for this problem. Only first set is used. Click apply. Second middle line you select. Change the material model to 2, but the cross section you keep it as same because this is also of the same cross section. Next, mesh. You can divide, you can have one element for each line, that is sufficient. And mesh lines, pick all. It is meshed now. Now before applying boundary condition, you better connect these 3 nodes with a coupling feature. So we have coupling equation here. Couple degrees of freedom. Select the top 3 nodes. Click OK. And you can give some reference number and set the degree of freedom UI. See, this is important. Here you can give any number, but this has to be changed to UI. Click OK. See, now you get a green color line there with some triangle here. That means they are all coupled now in Y direction. So loads, define loads, apply structural displacement on nodes. Bottom 3 nodes you select and fix because they are the fixed ends, like this, and apply the load on the top node, center, or any node you can pick, and apply the load of magnitude minus 25 kilonewton E3. Click OK and solve it. Solution is done. You just check all the results, whatever is required for you. Just updating. Before that you can read the results. Last set. Element table, define table, update. And you can check the element stresses. See, the 3 materials are undergoing stresses. Left and right member is steel. It is undergoing compressive stress of 30 megapascal. Central member is copper. It is undergoing minus 18.99 MPa stress. So record all the results, whatever is required. That is problem number 27. And the last problem in bars is this. There is a rigid horizontal bar AB which is used to support or load the steel and bronze wires, and rigid bar AB is hinged at the point A, and at point B there is a vertical load of 48 kilonewton. Now steel and bronze wires are undergoing axial deformation. We are going to model them, but rigid bar AB is represented by using MPC 184 elements. MPC stands for multi-point constraint. which is an element type used in ANSYS for modeling rigid members. Preferences I can set to structural. Element type I have to choose link 180, and also I have to choose MPC element constraint. You can click on constraint here. You can see nonlinear MPC 184. This is the element type that I have to use, and I have to choose the element MPC 184 and go to options and choose it as rigid beam. This is important selection. You have to choose it as rigid beam. Click OK here. Close this. Next, material properties, material models, structural, linear, elastic, isotropic. There are two materials. Steel member has Young's modulus of 205 gigapascal, and bronze member has 82 gigapascal, 82 E3. Click OK. Materials are defined. Cross sections, you can define the cross section. Cross section ID 1. Area for the first cross section, that is steel, is 850 mm square, and for the second cross section is 650 mm square. Enter that. So two sets are ready. Modeling, create key points in active CS. First one I'll create at 0 0. I'll take point A as origin. Now next point is 800 mm in X direction. Next point is X is 800 but Y is 1200. Next is 800 plus 1600, and Y can be 0 here. Apply. Next, at this X, Y becomes 2400. Next is Y0, X is plus 800. So these are the key points I need to place and join them using straight lines. So a line here, a line from 2 to 4, from 4 to 6, and a line from 2 to 3 and 4 to 5. So totally 5 lines are required. Next, go to meshing, mesh attributes. See picked lines. This line, which is a steel member, so material model 1 you have to set. Cross section is 1. Apply. Second one you choose and set the material to 2. Cross section to 2. Apply. And all these 3 lines you select and give the element type to MPC 184. And for this MPC 184, you can set any material and any cross section. Anyway, they are not going to be used for any calculation. MPC is a rigid element which will not undergo any deformation. So you don't have to worry about setting material or element cross section. So only element you choose, click OK. Next you choose size control all lines option. Number of element divisions you give 1, and mesh lines, it is meshed now. Now apply the boundary conditions. Structural, not force, you have to apply the boundary displacement boundary condition first. Displacement on nodes, this node and this node, it is totally fixed, so all DOF constraint. Next, this node is not constrained fully, rotation should be allowed, so uncheck this and select UX, UI, UZ, rotation X, rotation Y. Except rotation Z, you have to select all the other 5 degrees of freedom, because it has to be the rigid bar should be able to rotate about point A. So we are leaving rotation Z. It's very important. Then apply the force on node. At this node, apply vertical force of magnitude minus 48 kilonewton, 48 E3. Click OK. I selected this. I think I'll just remove that load. Delete force on nodes. On this node, I'm deleting the force and apply force on nodes on this node. Click OK. 48 kilonewton. OK. Now it is ready for solving. You can go to solution, solve. Any warning you can neglect and solve it. Now it is solved. Go to general post processor, read results last set and plot results deformed shape. You can see the deformed shape now. That is the deformed shape. 2.22 mm is the maximum displacement. You can get element stresses also and any other parameter if you are interested. You can get it. Whatever is asked in the problem, you can get it. So ls, 1. See, for element 4 and 5 I am getting stresses. Other 3 elements I am not getting because those are the rigid elements which will not undergo any deformation. But for this element and this element I am getting stresses. Similarly, you can get reactions, displacements, everything you can get it. This is about problem number 29. That is the last problem in this bars. So in the next video, I am going to start instructions on analysis of beams. Thank you.